Welcome you to Crown Corner for Wednesday, the 11th day of May, 2022. Will Palaszczuk, Jessica Charman here with you. Happy Wednesday and happy Soccer Wednesday, as we not only have a game to recap, but a game to talk about tonight. Charlotte FC in the U.S. Open Cup against the Richmond Kickers. What's up, Jess? Do we have Jess? Did we lose Jess? I guess we must have lost Jess for whatever reason. Her service is completely gone, she tells me. So we will get Jess back in touch with us. A little bit of a service issue with us. This is live podcasting, as it were. But Charlotte FC got themselves a very big victory over Inter Miami last week, 1-0. Let's actually hear how it sounded when it comes to our game this past weekend against Miami with our radio montage that we give you every week here on Crown Corner.
Josviak left it left side for Mora. Mora crossing to the area. Three guys there. Ahead by Swiderski. A save made by Drake Callender. But that's about the best service we've seen for Swiderski in a couple of games. Wanted to leave it for Mora. Now does so for Mora in the area. Trying to get around Yellen. He does. Mora 1v1. Pass to the middle. Swiderski. A shot save made. It was stabbed by John Mota. And that was almost 1-0. Service in the area. Trying to find Swiderski. It's played back though to Lindsay. A shot for Sergio. Save made by Drake Callender.
Didn't have quite enough power on it to really challenge Callender.
Mora cross to the middle, chested by Swiderski at the arc. In the area for Josviak. Camille saves it. A save made as he tried to get it on frame with one touch motion. But Drake Callender once again with a save.
Callender's been cracking.
Vasilev into the area at the arc. Vasilev a shot save made. Kalina with both hands. Vasilev in the area 1v1. A shot save. Kalina.
Huge save, and the way he turns around and fist pumps the crowd. I'd rather he wait till the ball was out of play before he did that. I didn't even get a Klondike at halftime.
Morris sent it back towards the area. Ruiz in the area. Turned around by Shinyashiki, and he missed it right side.
What a way that would have been to open his account for Charlotte FC.
Yordi in the area. Yordi with a cross for Shinyashiki. And it's good! Andre Shinyashiki! In his first game with Charlotte FC! Breaks the seal! And Charlotte FC on top against Miami!
Shinyashiki got Willie P shimmying in the booth. He's a very happy man.
Give and go back to Yedlin. Yedlin in the area. Yedlin with a cross back post. Cut off there by Jalen Lindsay. And nice defense by Jalen. That is it! Heavy is the head, then where's the crown? And that crown belongs to Charlotte. Home cooking tastes sweeter.
And that is the radio montage from this past week. And it looks like we do have Jessica Charman back with us. Hello, Jess.
I just wanted another introduction. I wanted to be the star of the show. No idea what happened there, but we're back, and hopefully I can stay hanging out because, I'm not sure if I trust you to do this all by yourself.
That's really mean of you. It really is.
It's all out of love. Let's be honest. I got called the Batman to your Robin. I got called the Batman to your Robin by Nick Wilson. That was a moment.
Well, Nick Wilson is just kind of a tool that way, but that's just what it is with him. His entire knowledge about soccer can basically be fit into like a crown this size. So I'll have that. But a big victory over Inter Miami this past week when it comes to that big goal from Andre Shinyashiki. Your thoughts on what we saw this past Saturday at Bank of America Stadium? It was so great to be home. Not just that, but it was great to see that new formation, that 4-3-3. It not only got us that big goal in the second half, but it got us that width that we were talking about leading into the contest.
Well, you took the words out of my mouth. The 4-3-3 was a really refreshing change. The 4-4-2 with the diamond in the middle had served its purpose. We picked up some points. We were playing okay soccer, but we were missing a lot when it came to the width. We were missing a lot when it came to service into the box, not having the correct runners. And we saw a real improvement in the forward going flair. We were resilient. We were frustrated in the first half not to finish the chances that we had. But in the second half, we grinded. We really made some good tactical decisions in terms of the substitutions, 2 substitutes and Brandt Bronico connecting for the goal. And it was a real improvement. And what I liked the most, because we know I've been hypercritical, was that we started to see those runs into the box. We started to see the back post run, the middle of the goal run, the front post run. And where did the goal come from? Shinya Shiki making the back post run, perfectly timed for the tap in. And I think it can only get better from here, particularly with the fact we've got 2 home matches to come in MLS as well.
And I do feel like, too, when it comes to the way this team plays, they get that home just infusion of energy. But I also feel like the one thing that we were missing this past weekend one thing that we were missing previously that we didn't get and we didn't get until this past weekend is just that 12th man of the fans. I do feel like that's something that this team really thrives on. And going into tonight, I'm wondering how that translates because, as we know, there were a lot of fans in Greenville. I don't know if there's that many. And again, with all the understanding that it is a bit of a further trip to Richmond, but this will be a real true test of.
Well, I've seen the social media following, Will, and there's been a lot of people that have been posting about arriving here in Virginia. That's the signpost I saw going on there. So I'm feeling good. I think we'll have a decent following. We'll have amount of people that are there to cheer us on. And at the end of the day, sometimes you've got to do your job as a professional soccer player, and you want to rely on your fan base, but you also need to do the best job you can on the pitch as a professional. And we've seen the lineup released, and we'll get into that shortly. But I'm excited to see a lot of depth players get an opportunity to shine.
Charlotte FC will get themselves an opportunity tonight against a very, very formidable Richmond side, which we'll, like we said, get into. But we do want to at least let you hear from not only the principal goal scorer, but what he saw on the goal. Here's Andre Shinyashiki after his debut goal against Inter Miami.
I have so many good players here. When Brand had the ball and he was driving with it, we always talk about in training of, putting players in good positions to succeed. And he plays a perfect pass to Reina, and Reina is so technical, so good at crossing. I saw it in training this week. So when he gets the ball, all I'm thinking is get in the goal frame. It's going to come to you. And, he plays a perfect pass, and I'm in the goal frame. I'm in the box, and if you want to score goals, that's where you have to be. So now that I've watched the replay of the play, I think it's pretty clear that we are eager to score goals, and that's why I think we're gonna do a lot of that this year.
So not only does he echo what I've been talking about so much with the runs, but he's also very humble in the fact that he's giving a lot of the responsibility for that goal to Jordi Reina. And Jordi Reina is a player that's faced a lot of criticism from fans, from us, for some of the lackluster performance he's put in. I think last weekend he showed exactly what he can be capable of. And a lot of people have started to realize that maybe they've been a little harsh in their criticism early on. And if he can perform that way consistently, he can be a player that can really bring others into the action and cause issues for defenders.
And that wasn't just the only cross that he had in that game that looked good. There were a couple of other crosses that just lacked that back end runner that I really feel like gave him the confidence to kind of keep going to that. And you even mentioned something during the broadcast. I mean, I feel like a lot of times when we get subs in, we're expecting immediate impact, but a lot of times it takes a while for those guys to kind of warm up to the game speed and those kinds of things. They subbed on in about the 59th minute. The goal was scored in the 68th. The fact that they got a goal 9 minutes after those subs came, I think is just a brilliant testament to not only how well that triple sub worked, but how much that game model and the work that they had done early had allowed them to find those openings that happened and came later in the match.
I think all those points are huge, Will. It's also a testament to the depth that we've got and the fact that Miguel Angel Ramirez is causing friendly competition. These players are coming off the bench with a point to prove. They want to have an impact immediately because they're looking to earn themselves more match time. And I think that's exactly what they did in connecting for a goal in terms of Jordi Reyna and Shinya Shiki. They're both putting question marks over their position and where and how they'll get more minutes in the season to come.
Head coach Miguel Angel Ramirez on how forward depth will allow this team to even have other opportunities outside of Shinya Shiki and continue to have that competition moving forward.
More depth when a game is like today, like we are not able to break this. Having this depth, having these possibilities in every position, give us this chance, to change in one moment the game, to put the we're suffering. We're in our own half, so we wanted to move the game forward and to get the spaces that they were conceding, above all in the defending transitions for them.
And I think the key word is resilience of this side. It could have been very easy to put your head down after the opportunities that went amiss in the first half, but they were resilient. They overcame. They kept trying to play the way that they're instructed to do so, and the game model prevailed.
Pietro Gianblanco asked a question that I think is something that a lot of people have asked about whether or not Charlotte FC should take a different approach away from home than they do on the road. I don't know if necessarily that's 100% something you want to do. I understand that you have to take into account all the factors, but the last thing that I want to see is this team play outside of themselves and play outside the game model, because the game model does warrant possession. It warrants an attacking style. I don't think Miguel Angel Ramirez, and you and I have had plenty of dealings with him, he doesn't strike you as somebody who is a park the bus type manager. He wants to get down on the pitch. He wants to possess the ball, and they want to score goals. I don't see them doing that even on the road.
But I think what they can do, and maybe the element of this in terms of sitting back, is game management, right? We saw Atlanta United away where we had equalized and then our game management was not the smartest, right? We should have probably held back for those last few minutes, sat back and tried to defend and go out for the draw. I think the only way we go defensive is game management. If you're in with a shot of a tie and you've got 5-10 minutes left, it's okay to sit back at that point and try and defend for a draw. At this point, we're lucky to have 2 more home matches. When we head on the road against Seattle, I'm not saying we should go in with a defensive approach at all. That's not our ball game. And like you say, Will, I don't think Miguel Angel Ramirez is a manager that's going to do that. But should we perform and be in for a draw or, be with a 1-0 lead, it's game management. And at times, if that means for the last 10 minutes of a match, you have to park the bus, as ugly and resentful as that is, sometimes you got to do it when it means that you're going to pick up points.
There is one other concern, and it's not necessarily something that will come up tonight, but something that might come up Saturday. Our friend Brandt Bronico picked up his 4th yellow card in the match last Saturday against Inter Miami. It was something that our friend Antonio Ramos reminded me of before the match, before the podcast today. One more for him causes a 1-match suspension.
I get it. I get it this weekend. Get it against Montreal, and he's gonna listen. Will he's gonna get it at some point in the season? May as well get it against a weaker opposition than on the road. It sounds bad, but the 5 for a holding midi, you're always going to get those suspensions throughout the season. Right. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get the next one after that for yellow card accumulation. And the most important thing for me is Brandt Bronico shouldn't change the way he plays. He's a choppy player that lets him know where he is, and it comes with the cost. It's just a part of the game.
Yeah, if I'm having him miss a match, I'd rather him miss the Vancouver match than I would the Seattle match. So I almost would rather him take it against CF Montreal rather this weekend, rather than have him see him do it against Vancouver. So that way you can play Jonesy against Vancouver and then have him back for the Seattle road match before the international break. Speaking of Derek Jones, he is in the starting lineup tonight, as are a bunch of others, and we'll bring you that here for this match tonight against Richmond. George Marks will start in goal, as he did in the Greenville match as well. Did very, very well in that contest. Did allow a goal, but was very, very stalwart for 120 minutes. Harrison Awful, Christian McCoon, Jan Zubachinski, and Koa Santos across.
And Will, you got muted right in the middle of that. I didn't have a clue what you were saying, but I'm sure we see that we've got a very unique starting lineup. It's the curse of the Open Cup, it feels like. I hope the match doesn't go as many technical difficulties as we've been having during this broadcast.
Do you have me back again or no?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Okay,
But
sorry
like
about that.
we won't have as many technical difficulties in the match as the broadcast. But I'm excited to see Coa Santos. He's a player that has been on loan at Charlotte Independence. We got to see him a little bit at Greenville. Loved how he played. He's a player that's made USL Team of the Week on multiple occasions. So that's exciting as a goalkeeper. George Marks obviously excites me. You can never create real life match minutes in practice. So for all those players, it's now a point to prove themselves. And they're playing against a really tough Richmond side, but they've just got to dig in, grind, and realize that their manager's watching. And that's not to play with pressure, but it's to play with a spark and realize that you need to perform today if you're in with getting a shot for more MLS minutes in the future.
So Derek Jones will start at the holding midfield. The two attacking midfielders will be Titi Ortiz and Jordi Alcivar. It'll be Jordi Reyna and Mackenzie Gaines on the wings with Daniel Rios as the central striker. Rios, by the way, looked very, very good as a substitute of Karol Swiderski. Didn't play a lot, but I think you made a really prescient point, is that he's somebody who literally can go after everything with a big head of steam late in the match.
Yeah, he came off and he had a point to prove. He was charging down everything, and I'm sure that was the instruction from Miguel Angel Ramirez. Don't let them play out. Just close down and make every delivery difficult for them. But he's a player that's going to have a chip on his shoulder. He's going to be frustrated that he's yet to score a goal in the Charlotte FC colours. What a fantastic opportunity it is for him tonight to find some confidence. Yes, against a weaker side on paper, but they're going to be out here. This is their big cup match. They're a team that has a point to prove, and I had the opportunity to talk to a couple of their fans who let me know that, you know, they're going to come into this one organized. They're probably going to play a very frustrating back line against Charlotte FC. They're going to play, you know, very defensively and try and catch us on the counter. They've got two really strong centre backs in the air. So they're going to make it difficult for us tonight. And no one likes playing against the Park Bus, but you understand it. They want to make it through to the next round. They want a big upset to face another MLS club. So we're going to have to really grind down that hard defensive line that they put up against us.
Their center backs are built like American football players. Seriously. Like when we saw them, we had a chance to see them in person against Charlotte Independence a couple of weeks ago, and they have a different build to them than the attacking players that Charlotte Independence had. And so I'm curious to see what they look like against our guys for the first time. And I also wondering how their buildup looks against our defense. The fact that Christian Makoun is starting gives you at least an idea of what kind of respect that Charlotte FC has for this squad. And it's something that I feel like a lot of people are concerned about when it comes to the amount of chances that we give up. But as head coach Miguel Angel Ramirez says, giving up chances is part of the match.
Always trying to be like solid and compact and avoiding that the opponent get chances. But of course the opponent plays also, you know, and they have good players. And we are who we are. So it's normal that we concede chances. But we are working to reduce these chances, to create more chances than the opponent, to have more possibilities to win the game. But, I mean, it's difficult. We are who we are. So it's normal to suffer and it's normal to concede chances. But, I mean, we are in the way to be a more solid and more compact team and more competitive.
And let's be honest, when we give up chances, usually in MLS action, we've got Christian Kalina back there to save us on numerous occasions. George Marks will be filling gloves between the sticks tonight. And he's a player that's working really hard in practice. We've had an opportunity to speak to him. He feels very confident, and that's the main attribute you need as a goalkeeper, is confidence. So I'm excited for him to get some minutes. And look, no goalkeeper really wants to make saves, but part of them does. So he'll be hoping for that thin line between Richmond getting some opportunities so he can show what he's made of without them dominating the game against Charlotte, of course.
Richmond has won this cup before in 1995. Granted, the the makeup of American soccer was a lot different than that was pre-MLS, but they have been a giant killer when it comes to these tournaments. They got to the semifinal in 2011, and they beat a couple of big MLS sides on the way there. So they are capable of a cup set. They are organized. They've got a couple of very big strikers who can score the goals that I think people are afraid of. When it comes to Charlotte FC, though, Jess, how do you go about taking a side like Richmond out of the match early, because you know their fans at City Stadium tonight are going to be pretty hyped for this one?
I think you score a goal early. At the end of the day, goals always rock a fan base. And when you're a smaller sided team, and I played on underdogs during my playing career, and the longer that you stay in the match, the more confidence you get that you're going to come out with something. Your crowd gets behind you. They start to believe, and you grow in confidence throughout it. If Charlotte FC gets a goal early, their heads will drop immediately. And then they have to take risks. We mentioned our friend with Richmond discussed how they want to park the bus. They want to hold you at a deadlock and then catch you on the counter. If you concede a goal early, that game plan goes completely out the window. All of a sudden, you have to go forward to create an opportunity, which then allows a lot of gaps behind you. So the game could go either two ways. If they concede early, I think Charlotte FC goes out there and they run rampant. But if Richmond is able to shut up shop and concede, I think it could be a very long night in Virginia, which I know nobody wants, but
well, that's one of the things, and I was reading something that that Richmond's head coach said in a press clipping earlier today. He said, we'll let Charlotte have all the possession they want. They're not necessarily shy about that part. They'll say they'll let all the possession they want as long as, number one, they don't score, and number two, we get our opportunities on the counter, which they know they're vulnerable to. Think about the Philadelphia game. That's probably the last game that we played that involved a team that didn't care whether or not they had possession or not, and you saw them capitalize on mistakes. We have to be point perfect when it comes to the distribution out of the back. And I do feel like we're a much different team than we were then, because we're not afraid to play it long now. We are able to win second balls on long clearances by either George Marks or by the center backs. It's a situation now I feel like is a lot different than when we played that Philadelphia Union team and we scored 2 goals off of very bad unforced errors.
I agree, but it's also a very different personnel that's in the mix for Charlotte FC tonight. It's a lot of players that haven't had many competitive match minutes. That's not to say they're not quality players, but as we always emphasize, you can recreate scenarios on the training ground as much as you like. None of it compares to playing, a 90-minute cup match. So if Richmond decide to go long against an inexperienced goalkeeper, that's no disrespect to George Marks, but that's, he's a rookie. And then you've got new defenders that haven't played MLS minutes, like Sobocinski, who, again, loved what we saw in Greenville, but he's still inexperienced with this back line. It could cause some errors. We need to see big performances from these new guys that are stepping in. And that's a very challenging way to defend against that long ball, against that hit and hope. Timing has to be right, like you mentioned, Will.
Yeah, Charlotte FC will not have the services of somebody who was there last time they played, Anton Walks. He is still out as he's still trying to obtain his green card, which can help Charlotte FC get another international spot back, which is good for them. The subs they will have off the bench tonight, Guzman Carujo, Joseph Mora, Ben Bender, Brant Bronico, Andre Shinyashiki, Kamil Josviak, and Pablo Cisniega. Those are the 8 men off the bench, or at least the 5 men off the bench, I should say, that they'll have at their disposal there when it comes to Charlotte FC, and they might have a chance to use another one when it comes to their situation if they can possibly do so in extra time. We're praying for no extra time this time. We want to see this finished at 90 from Charlotte FC's perspective, but I do like the fact that it seems like Miguel has the proper respect for this tournament, and we know that from his time at Independiente del Valle. He really, really values club football. I heard DC United's interim coach this past week say, you know what, we really didn't care about the U.S. Open Cup this week. We wanted to just be out of the competition and focus on the league. The fact that they have the proper respect and they are bringing forth what I would call as a representative 18 side, I think is a testament to not only Miguel, but also how much these players want to play in Cup football.
And of course they do. These players want the opportunity to play because this is their real proving point. Like we keep saying, it gives a lot of opportunity to players that may not be getting consistent minutes week in, week out. So they want to keep in this competition as long as possible because they're getting to put their boots on and step on the pitch. Also, Miguel understands that the fans here are so passionate and what it would mean. And we're looking far ahead. But if we can make a run in this, fans will get more opportunity to support their team. Fans will get more opportunity to see their side compete. And who knows, lift some silverware. Like any opportunity you have, particularly an inaugural season, to have an opportunity to challenge for some credentials like that. Also, of course, get the opportunity to play in CONCACAF potentially if you come up victorious. What more could you want? Miguel would be a fool not to play. And I'm so glad he's that manager instead of the throw it away and let's focus on MLS. Better to have your eggs in 2 baskets than focus them all on one.
And I know that the matches themselves have come very much in big succession. I believe there's only a couple of weeks' time for the round of 16. But once you get past the round of 16, the gap between the matches is a lot greater. So the real taxing nature of these matches will go away for Charlotte FC, and the fact that they will get the international break to kind of get some rest here in a couple of weeks will certainly help them. Miguel was asked about what makes Richmond different from their opening opponent in this competition, Greenville, even though these two teams do play at the USL League One level.
Different, but they changed the formation in the last game, so we have all the information from the previous game, but in the last game they changed a little bit. They lost, but they defended really, really well. Defending is a team well organized. It's a team like well coached and organized, and with the jumps and the defending organization really clear. Of course, knowing that, we know also where are the ways to progress and where are the spaces that we can conquer to reach the final third. That is what we want.
I think a huge thing to take out of this, again, you mentioned the respect that Miguel has. Well, he's done real research on the opposition. It's not like he's just written them off already. He's looked into them. He's watched their previous matches. He understands where they're strong and where they're not. And that shows a real level of respect as well. Defensive organization. It's reiterating what we discussed earlier again. They're smart at the back. They're not going to give up too many opportunities, and they're coming in with a game plan. If they maintain the organization, it will be difficult for Charlotte FC, and that's where our mentality becomes very important. We cannot get frustrated. We cannot let this get on us. We can't focus on the fact this is a lower division opponent. I've commentated plenty for USL, and I'll tell you, there's some real shining stars in that league that can hurt you if you don't give them the respect they deserve.
And guys with experience, guys who played a lot of football behind them, even some that have more experience than the side Charlotte FC are starting. Though one thing I will point out, 7 of the 11 in the starting 11 tonight have started an MLS match for Charlotte FC this season. So I think that part is something you have to really lean on. And a couple of these guys, including, Mackenzie Gaines, was a guy who started this past week. Daniel Rios, who up until last week was somebody who was a regular starter for Charlotte FC. It's something that I feel like gives Charlotte FC a little bit of a leg up. This isn't just a group that they threw together as a ragtag. They have that experience playing together in Greenville, number one. And number two, a lot of these guys have been on the field together before. And I think that will help, a little bit more, because I think the one thing that you and I think when we were watching that Greenville game together is that it did have the look of a side that didn't have that cohesion and that ability to play together. I do feel like they have that more now than they did, say, going into that game in the South Carolina Upstate.
Yeah, there's going to be more cohesiveness. There's more experience going in there together. We look at the bench as well. It's a very talented bench with a lot of MLS minutes on it as well. Miguel's probably not going to want to look at that bench too much. He'd like the players that start in that lineup to put the match to bed so that he can give players like Ben Bender, Brian Bronico a rest instead of having to bring them on like they did at Greenville. But it's a real opportunity to shine. And like you say, it's a very talented side. As long as they go into it with the right mindset on paper, they should have no issues. But we know paper will, and it's not always the truth teller.
No. And here's the thing, like, I want to ask the question, what will you need to see in the first 30 minutes in order for you to feel comfortable about this game? I feel like the answer is, I want to see a goal. I want to see a goal. I know.
I mean, we'd love
if we don't see a goal. If we don't see a goal, what would be the thing you want to see? Just consistent play in their half of the field?
Yeah, holding possession, but not just possession horizontally, possession with a purpose. getting those runs down the wing. And, you know, I go on about it like a broken record, but I want to see bodies making those runs into the box. This is a great way to practice what runs you want to be making. I want to see us physical, and I want to see us challenging for everything. But I would prefer to see the goal, Will.
Pietro says, win the battles in the midfield early and hard and beat them mentally early in the game. That's the unfortunate part about this. I don't know if you're going to take them mentally out of this game. This is a squad that has this experience of playing at this level. I don't know if that's something that you can do very easily unless you just get a barrage of goals.
I think you score one, then they start to be a bit rattled, get a second one, and then anyone, even the biggest professional, starts to get a little worried. Will, you ignored me, though.
What?
Scott mentioned he wants to see the crew shimmy, and I think you lost a bet. Is that your shimmy?
I don't know. I can't do it on command.
You
I
look
can't
like
do
you
it on
had
command.
some sort of heart palpitation. That's
I can't do it on command. I have to be like in the zone to do it.
You have no shoulders or hips. There's just nothing there.
What the hell's the matter with you? You're so mean sometimes.
It's
You're
all
so mean
love.
sometimes.
It's all love. But we've got a match to watch. It's 6:30.
Yeah, I say it's 6:30 right now. Okay, we got to get off of here because we got a match to see.